Yeah.
Namaste to everyone. And first of all, I am blessed today. Swamiji, it's a greatest blessing to actually start the whole proceedings with your blessings. And of course, that's what Swamiji is all about. So he brings in that lineage of Ramakrishna and Swami Vivekananda to bring in that man-making process. And Swamiji has been responsible for actually bringing that inner strength of many individuals and actually getting that to the people. And I am one of them. It's the blessings of Swamiji with which I'll be sharing some very little experiences, what I have come across in my life, and very small amount of research what we have done. And the world is so big, and the knowledge is source of knowledge is so wide, and we have a long way to go. But today I'll make an attempt to give you a glimpse of the science behind emotions and bring the perspectives of yoga as the main source to understand the science of emotions. So it's my privilege to be here today, and I'm really grateful to Swamiji and of course Subrato Chattopadhyay ji, Anirban Datta ji, Naresh ji, and of course it's a very special privilege to have Dr. Sushil Sharma ji and many of you who are highly accomplished people in your own fields. And of course, we always feel that when we talk in front of people like Swamiji, there must be a disclaimer. Okay, so the disclaimer what I'm making is this is a raw knowledge what I'm going to present. And if you have any further refinement, I think we all need to get back to Swamiji, and Swamiji is going to guide us. So with that, I'm going to share my screen and share my thoughts on this topic of today, which is all about understanding the science behind emotions and bringing...
Dr. Manjunath ji, we have esteemed monk, Buddhistic monk, Bhikkhu Geshe ji, who is our special guest. I had invited him. He has joined. I extend a cordial welcome to our Bhikkhu Geshe ji, who has joined us from Leh. Dr. Manjunath, please continue.
Oh, that's a added blessing for me and all the people present here. Warm welcome to yet another great soul, Bhikkhu ji, and we are blessed. So thank you very much. So as Swamiji mentioned, I come from this organization called Swami Vivekananda Yoga Anusandhana Samsthana, where we believe in the teachings of Swami Vivekananda. And for yoga, each and every teaching, whatever Swamiji has given, has a very strong place. And particularly when we want to bring it to education, research, as well as therapeutic application, we have lots to take from here. So the main purpose of understanding yoga in a scientific method and scientific using a scientific modality is not to say that this knowledge was not known earlier. So actually, we are just trying to understand that great knowledge which was already there, and we are trying to make an understanding using the present day language, which is the modern medical science. So having said that, it is very important for all of us to know that emotions are something which with which we all live. So we have this experience. If somebody is not showing up an emotion, we actually tease them, say that, come on, say something and show some expression, show some emotion. And all the time, we are also driven by emotions. So it's not just we live with them, but our actions are driven by our emotions. But emotions are not permanent entities which are tagged with our life. because the word emotion itself, if you just understand, it comes from an attached word called motion. So it is fleeting in nature. So nothing stays permanently except you make that ultimate emotion, which is blissful experience, which is possible only through sadhana. Every action generally leads to the generation of emotions. So today, you are listening to me. We heard Swamiji, and immediately after that, you have multiple other activities to do. And one challenging activity, which many of the cricket lovers are in a way challenged today, is there is an India-Pakistan cricket match in the T20 World Cup. So there is an anxiety, there is an emotional connect with an activity which is either going at present or which is expected to happen in the next couple of minutes or days. So these can generally result in varied feelings. Okay, an emotional experience can result either in a wonderful blissful experience, or it can lead to the opposite experience of pain, anger, and hate. Generally, so we talk in yoga that whatever we do, it should result in a positive emotion. So generally these come and go like a storm. So we all know, particularly in US, you have the very good experience. You predict when the storm is going to come. Yoga also talks about, based on your personality, what kind of a storm can influence an individual, and where do you have a stronger impact and imprint left behind after the storm is gone. But it always, we will never realize what is happening when you are under an emotional circumstance. And only over a period of time, you realize that the impact, whatever my actions were there during that time, had a very strong impact, either positively or negatively. It is always said that emotions are biologically based psychological states, because generally we relate emotions to a psychological state. But for that psychological state to manifest, many biological processes taking place in your body. So these are believed that brought on by neurophysiological changes, and these are variously associated with thoughts, feelings, behavioral responses, and also associated with a degree of either pleasure or displeasure as an endpoint. So there are many other names for emotions. We call individuals with this other synonymous word like temperament. So that individual's temperament is very different. So don't approach him, don't discuss with him certain things, is what we relate. And feelings is the other word. These are also called as powered thoughts. Okay, so a thought is something which comes and goes. But when you power up a thought, that becomes probably an emotion. And also it's related to another terminology called a mindset. So his mindset is something like that. That means he has been or she has been driven by a very strong emotion. So emotions play a very important role in our life. Emotions generally indicate a person's inner attitude. So Swamiji was mentioning that what I am inside is reflected in my actions. Unless you consciously regulate, there is something inside and you demonstrate an action differently. Emotions also prepare a person to face important events in life. So emotions are not always bad. Okay, emotions are always not something to be endowed with as a preparatory mechanism, certainly needed. Imagine we call even anxiety as an part of an emotion. Fear as a part of an emotion, etc. So all these things actually help us to prepare better to meet a demanding situation, either immediately or after some time. So another important aspect of emotions is that responding to the feelings of others is believed to be the greatest virtue of an individual. So we say, right, like when somebody is in distress, we don't need to go and do something very big to make that person feel bad, good or bad. So what is needed is just to say or talk in a nicer way. So responding to the feelings of an individual actually brings out that greatest virtue of a human being. So while positive emotions nurture our growth, negative emotions can be destructive in most of the cases. We all know that emotions can arise from several factors and several corners. So first of all, our sense organs contributes, the panchendriyas contribute to the generation of emotions. So be it our eyes, nose, tongue, ear, and skin, the five important sense organs through which we perceive the world, okay, we experience the world. So whenever the information comes from outside, then there is a response to it. So imagine when I see something very pleasant, there is a positive emotion coming in. When I see something really disturbing, suddenly a negative emotion comes in. Same applies to other sense organs, like a wonderful, a very nice smell or a bad smell, something very nice to taste versus something very not so good taste for your tongue, versus what you hear and what you feel. So each one of them are not just going to bring in an information, these are also going to end up in generating emotions and also going to leave the impressions which are going to come again and again. Because once you have seen, once you have heard something, second time when you go through the same experience, there is an inner memory coming and telling you that don't waste any time, because that is going to result in a kind of an experience which is not going to be good. So second important area factor is our very well-known Arishad Vargas, the six vices. We know Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Matsarya. These are the strongest emotions which can destruct any individual at any stage. This applies to any age group and of all genders. Generally, we believe that these are essential for us, for our growth. Imagine, many people always say that unless you have a desire, how do you progress? Okay, I need to have a target. I need to have a kind of goal in my life. Without that desire, nothing motivates me. This is what people talk about. So similarly, at times you have to put up different emotions. Otherwise, people also might take you wrongly, that this guy, whatever happens, he is not going to get influenced. So don't worry, take him lightly. Okay, so it's not as simple as that. These are the strongest emotions, and this is something like a chain of reactions, which we are going to see in the next couple of slides. And generally, one of the greatest yoga masters, Sage Patanjali, has described the kleshas, what we talk about, the five kleshas, avidya, asmita, raga, dvesha, abhinivesha, are those which drive these strong emotions like Arishad Vargas. So as we all know, avidya and asmita actually play the biggest role. We feel that ignorance, many people say that ignorance is bliss. Unfortunately, that is a way of making ourselves comfortable, but good number of occasions, this impact of ignorance leading to stronger emotional upsurge and resulting in self-destruction has been a common experience. And of course, I don't need to talk about ego, and it is very well said that that's the fundamental source for many of the negative emotions to surface, and that gets carried away further, and hence it's very important. And the last one, the fear of death, is also related, abhinivesha is also related with the fear of change. Our problem in present day is not to progress and not to achieve certain things. Our problem is the anxiety of not losing something what I've already achieved. Okay, so the fear of change certainly contributes. Hence, all these remain as the fundamental sources of our emotions. This is one shloka I always go again and again to understand this process. Dhyayato vishayan pumsa sangasteshu upajayate sangat sanjayate kamaha kamat krodobhi jayate krodot bhavati sammoha sammoha smruti vibrama smruti bramshat buddhinasha buddhinasha pranashrite. In a simple way to understand the source of this, I mean, it's said that it's a wonderful chain of events which result in you moving from normal being to sort of a self-destruction. So for everything, the fundamental source is repeated thinking. Okay, so who uses this shloka probably the best in a positive tone is our advertisement agencies. Okay, so they know that repeated thinking is needed for you to get attached with a thought. And when you get attached with a thought, then you once again superimpose the same thought, then it will become a desire. And when desire is very strong, you do all that is possible to fulfill your desire. And Bhagavad Gita says, taking it to the next level, actually, when your desire is not fulfilled, it results in a chain of destructive events, like you are angry for not able to achieve what you are supposed to achieve. And that leads subsequently to delusion. And of course, it is very clearly said that it is going to destroy your cognitive processes, resulting in distorted memory. And of course, very important, what is special for human being, we lose our discriminating power and we lose ourselves. So probably this is something amazing to understand, because repeated thinking remains as the source. And whatever happens subsequently can be broken at any stage, because people do ask that how do I actually manage this emotional upsurges through yoga. So yoga has so many wonderful tools, be it the Ashtanga yoga or be it the individual practices within each one of them. And they are designed to actually break this chain at different levels. So that's what we are going to see in the next couple of few slides. It is also said that we are all born with this amazing 5-layered component called Panchakoshas. We look at ourselves as human beings with a physical entity, but that is what is called as an Annamaya Kosha. So what is seen externally. So when you go little inward, then you have the Pranamaya Kosha, the energy body, then the Manomaya Kosha, which is actually the mental sheath, then the Vijnanamaya Kosha, the higher knowledge or intuition, and of course, the true sense of an individual is seen deep inside. That's why when you do yoga or do anything, it is always said that it is an inward journey. During COVID, all of us have this experience. During lockdown, we all wanted to go out. And many, including I heard some of the talks of Swamiji, They said that when you cannot go outside, God has given you a wonderful opportunity. Now you are locked up in your house, go inward. So that's where you can touch your true soul, true self. And the problem starts always, as long as in your Anandamaya Kosha, absolutely there is no issue. So the problem starts with a combination of Vijnanamaya Kosha and Manomaya Kosha. When you have higher knowledge to its fullest extent, absolutely nothing can create any confusion in you. Only issue starts at the Manomaya Kosha. And when the Manomaya Kosha is impacted, it comes outward and it impacts your Pranamaya Kosha and results in something which is visible physically, what we call it as a vyadi. So this is also used as a wonderful way of understanding how with simple mental issue or psychological disturbances, we end up getting physical health problems, adija vyadi, what we call it as. So it's also essential for us to understand, don't neglect what happens at the mental level. That's why people say that relax your mind. Relaxation of mind can take care of lots of things happening in your body. That is the reality. It's also said in Bhagavad Gita that emotions are related to your personality types. What you can see here, that somebody who has a sattvic personality will be endowed with a balanced, contented, happy, and loving personality. So this individual will have a predominance of these virtues. And whereas a Rajasic personality will always have a sort of a dissatisfied being, and will be supported by greed, jealousy, intolerance, and sadness, etc. While a Tamasic personality has this lethargy, depression, disinterest, indifference, all of them as special qualities. So understanding this will help us in bringing a change. So if my personality is tamasic in nature, I don't feel like getting up early in the morning. When I get up, when I have to get up, I always postpone. I want to start yoga. I go and purchase everything and I am ready for the next day. But the next day comes early morning, my tamas pulls me back to say that, okay, sleep for today, tomorrow tomorrow you can start. And at the same time, you can be easily pulled down to have a sort of a low feeling again and again. Depression can come very easily, and you will be disinterested in many activities. So once I understand that I have a particular personality type, then you need to use techniques which can actually take me from that personality type to a sattvic personality type, which is all very well described. These are some of the scientific studies done to understand what exactly happens with your emotions correlating with your personality type. And emotions also play a very important role in our daily living, as we already saw.